A girl that you like has all the girlfriend quality characteristics that you want except that you are not physically attracted to her. What do? Some say having a nice personality will make you more attracted to the person as you get to know them. Is it true for you? You have a right to 50% of the gains during your marriage. If he is worth billions, and we take into consideration 7% annual returns and that billionaire has exactly 1 billion, that amounts to 70 million.00/2 for just 1 year of marriage. I have had female friends whom I didn't find attractive, but after getting to know them things can change. A person's personality can actually make us overlook the flaws, overlook the beauty standards we tend to set for a potential partner. At least that's how things are for me, but if something else floats your boat, that's cool too. I am exactly like this. I don't understand how people can fall in love with a celebrity whom they've never met and or obsess about their appearance. That just doesn't equate in my brain. I have known so many people who I didn't find attractive until I got to know them. Whether it be friends or even my daughter's father, I see his flaws now. My attraction doesn't work like that. I'm definitely not shallow. I hate when a person asks my fiancée how did you end up with her? As in my appearance, I think it's sort of rude as a first impression and the epitome of oversexed humans and the beloved trophy wife. Edit. I am not talking about people being like, I love Ben Affleck, he's so hot. I'm referring to people who personalize their relationship with celebrities or even just people who aren't famous. Putting their posters, paparazzi photos on the ceiling above the bed and obsessing about their every move. Just nonsensical to me, haha. My celeb crushes include their perceived personality based on the roles they play and the character they present to the world in interviews. Since it's a celebrity crush anyway, I'm not concerned with the artifice of it. Also, finding out real details about their real personalities can and has changed celebrity crush statuses in both small and great ways. Also, I'm not the type of fan you describe in your edit, just sharing my take on the idea. I have said things like, Drew Barrymore seems like such a cool person. I wish I could have a few drinks with her lol just in jest or after watching an interview or something. So I don't mean it like that, but I mean people who obsess about every move they make, the people they date, the food they eat, how they work out, the clothes they wear, where they are located every minute, and those who are glued to paparazzi updates 24/7. It's no harm to have a celebrity crush. I just don't get it personally, but definitely have complimented celebrities before. This has happened to me several times. I'm 38, so an old guy by Reddit standards. I worked with a girl who when I first met, she wasn't bad looking by any means, but she certainly was no head turner, just an average chick. As I got to know her, she became, in my eyes, one of the most gorgeous girls I've known. She was funny, sweet, and super smart. The flip side, I've also worked with a girl who when I met her I thought she was a legit hottie. As I got to know her I realized she was a kind of a bitch and bully, and her attractiveness plunged for me. Personality matters. Running up against the hard truth that life is what you make it tends to add depth and character to people. Unfortunately, some still never make the goal. Fortunately for them, at a certain age, everybody looks the same. It's impossible to tell who used to be what anymore. But it's pretty evident who is happy and who isn't, so the always ugly bitter fox finally gets to sit at the same table as the once beautiful bitter fox. They finally made it to the cool kids table for lunch, so at least they have that. So true. So many people never come to the realization that happiness and peace come from within, and it's something shared from within yourself, not something you get only from other people. No one can make you happy, and no amount of money can make you truly happy. It'll help with the facade for a little while, but you'll always end up feeling alone if you can't find that inner happiness. Attraction to personality supersedes looks given time. I had a pretty stringent type and didn't really speak to a girl first night we met her. Found out she thought I was nice and wanted to get to know me better, so next time we were together I made an effort to chat with her just to be friendly. I ended up chatting with this girl that didn't appear to be my type, and within minutes I was putty in her hands. May not be instantaneous like in my case, but from what I've seen with friends it quite often happens. Gonna be marrying that girl soon and I genuinely couldn't be happier. Male, it's subjective to be honest. Have you given her enough time to fully showcase her personality? Cause from my gauge, all relationships, platonic or intimate, develop over a period of time. Think of it in terms of a best friend maybe. You start off as friends, you don't make much of it, but as you spend more time together you're like, damn, I really click with this person, and that's how you transition from becoming acquaintances to friends to close friends and eventually to best friends. Hope this helps. Inverted question mark. This is basically the story of my current partner and I. We were roommates and friends for a long time. After spending a lot of time together and realizing we are very compatible, we started developing feelings for one another despite there not being much initial attraction. Not that she isn't pretty, more that she is extremely outdoorsy and tomboyish, which hasn't been my type, historically. I can see that. I've always been attracted to my girlfriend, but she does have some very minor flaws. As I've gotten more close to her on an emotional level, I even started to find her flaws beautiful. It's strange, but to me she's the most attractive girl in the world, even though that wasn't the case when I first met her. Yeah, I agree with that. If you dumb it down by rating a girl out of 10, physical appearance only when you first meet, I think personality can then add or subtract 2 from that quite easily. But going back to the original comment, you have to be friends first to get to know her personality and then make a decision on whether you want to pursue a relationship. I wouldn't want to jump in when I'm not sure and risk losing a good friend if it doesn't work out. Yep, I remember I stayed away from dating for almost 6 months because of a breakup like this. She was sweet, intelligent, pretty, and loving. Pretty much everything I want or I think I want. The attraction just never worked for me. It bothered her. I eventually had to end it because it was wrong to string her along if I didn't feel that way, and I explained that to her. It was such a devastating breakup and I felt so fucking awful for treating a wonderful person like that. Just don't do it. Can you expand a little? You included pretty in your list of positives for her. That sounds like she was visually attractive to you. In my mind, that along with the other positives she had, it seems a bit odd that you weren't attracted to her. Maybe there is no explanation available and you just didn't feel it. It seems if I thought a woman was sweet, intelligent, pretty, and loving and she liked me, it would be difficult to not be attracted to her. I know you're not asking me, but I went through the same thing. There's no explanation other than when it came down to it, the attraction just wasn't there. I didn't look at him and think, wow, he's the most beautiful man in the world. I'm so lucky to have him. I found myself subconsciously not wanting to take pics with him either, which I really feel bad about cause there was nothing wrong with him, and then sex ... we had it. But it wasn't as strong as someone I was physically into. You know, when you quite literally want to jump someone's bones and will do any kinky thing imaginable. Lol, hope that helped. Exact thing happened to me. The girl who was the raw for the dorm I lived in freshman year of college had an obvious crush on me. She pursued me, tried to get me to come hang out with her, would initiate texting. She was honestly really cool and I know she would have made a really good girlfriend. But I wasn't physically attracted to her. Like you said, it's not like she was ugly. She just wasn't my type. After this went on for a while and I had some bad luck with other women, I convinced myself that I could get past the lack of complete attraction to her because I knew she wouldn't play games with me and would prioritize me. We went on a couple dates and hung out alone together for a couple of weeks. But I could just never get past not being attracted to her. I wound up telling her we just need to be friends and it crushed her. Thankfully we never hooked up or even kissed, but honestly I still feel really bad and it's been 10 years. We're still friends on social media and she has since been married and had a kid. She looks really happy, which makes me feel better. But yes, To all the dudes who prioritize a physical attraction to your partner, please don't even bother entertaining something with someone that you're not attracted to. Yes, it's possible you could come around and be super attracted to them just because they're awesome as a person, but honestly, it's not worth risking someone else's heart in the process. In fact, it's super selfish. Honestly, dude, I think you did the best possible thing. Sometimes getting to know someone and just hanging out can really change how you view them in terms of attractiveness. I've had it happen myself a few times in the past. Wasn't really attracted to them but then got to know them on a more personal level and it completely changed. Just don't hook up with them and break their heart unless you're sure. That's the trick. You gave it a go. Nothing wrong with that. I appreciate that, and you're totally right. I gave it a shot and there's nothing wrong with that, especially considering we didn't hook up. But I just feel bad because she held out hope for a pretty long time that I would come around. Then I kind of did by going on a couple of dates and then backed out. I just led her on and I still feel a little guilty about it. Had this happening to me too. I know that he really liked me, but I always knew he just wished I looked a little more like my best friend, whom he had a crush on when we first met. After that crush he and I got to know each other and seemed very compatible. I fell in love. He didn't, but hooked up with me nonetheless. I think he really wanted to make it work, but it did not, and I was more devastated than I would have been if we just stayed friends. It was as if I got a taste of the best food ever, only to hear after a few bites I wasn't allowed to ever eat it anymore. This thread is making me feel validated, because I was in a similar position with the super nice girl who checked all the boxes, minus physical attraction. We went on a few feeler dates years ago, and have been friendly ever since, but recently she asked if I wanted to become a serious relationship. I said no, because I didn't feel comfortable with it, and she seemed hurt but understood. I felt really bad for a month straight, thinking I made a mistake, and that maybe I could just try to overcome the physical attraction hurdle. Anyway, thank you for sharing your perspective. It helps to know other people took the just go for it path, and it didn't seem to end well in most cases. I went through this back in the day before I met my wife. Be their friend and let that be it. Don't settle and hope that just because you love being their friend will grow to love them romantically. I don't say settle as if they aren't worth it, but if you have no attraction to the person you are shortchanging them. While loving the person is the most important thing because looks do fade and you're gonna spend a lot more time having to talk, listen to that person than you are going to spend it being intimate. Intimacy is still important and they deserve to have someone that isn't settling for them but acutely wants it. I've had a similar experience. Don't date people who you aren't into, for whatever reason, as it will eventually blow up. People who wish for people who don't care about looks don't know what they wish for, because sitting in a relationship with someone who doesn't think you're sexy is frustrating as hell. Never been there, but can you even imagine having someone next to you who you'd gobble up whole who just really doesn't feel a want to touch you? Was the girl who crossed their check marks, even the physical attraction part, but the relationship still failed as they were still hung up with someone else they were with for a long time before me. I questioned myself even if there was nothing much I could have done or offered better. I just moved on to concluding he was just a shitty person and I deserved so much better. Completely unrelated, but anyone else not really all that interested in runway models? I don't know why, but that particular sex icon never really did it for me. When I was younger, my friends would be ogling Victoria's Secret models or runway models on the covers of articles that they could look at on school computers and I'd just be like, yeah, me too. Super hot, definitely. I have a few girls friends where we've explored the relationship side, that is having sex and going on dates, but the physical chemistry was just not there. Some of the friendships have been able to return to normal but some have also just ended because we shouldn't have slept together in the first place and it made things uncomfortable after we ended it. She's what you'd call a friend. Don't date her. You'll always have subtle ways of letting her know she's not what you really want and it'll end up hurting her. It'll make her question everything about love and trust and intimacy. Never date someone you don't care for just to have your own needs met. or just to have someone to date for now until someone you like better comes along. She'll just end up feeling used, because that's exactly what she was, a placeholder. You can't mold her into what you want, and what you really want isn't her, and it never will be. Source: I used to be her. Just happened to me recently. It's been a year now and I never felt so unattractive in my life. I'd rather he'd just say for us to be friends, but instead, I was lead on like a joke. He wasn't attracted to me at all. He just wanted to not be alone. Please, for the love of God, if you are not attracted to someone, leave them be. There is no law that says you have to date someone because they have certain traits. I think people tend to overstate their confidence in their ability to describe what it is they're looking for. If they define the characteristics they're looking for, they can still find themselves attracted to someone who doesn't check those boxes, and can still find themselves not attracted to someone who does. People lie to themselves about their own preferences all the time. If you say to yourself, I like movies that have these particular qualities, that might be roughly true, but every once in a while you'll find yourself surprised by what you liked or what you didn't. People should learn to be flexible, and keep their eyes open to the possibility that they haven't actually figured out exactly what they like and what they don't, and how they'll respond to a mix of things they like with things they don't, when they come in a package deal. That sure is true, but it's a bit extreme to start dating someone on the premise that you might start being attracted to them later. I think there's a misunderstanding. I'm not advocating dating someone with whom you have no attraction. That is a bit dishonest. Closeness can come from just hanging out and being friends. Don't make a snap decision about a future with someone just because that's how you feel now. Been there. Found myself dating this girl that I wasn't attracted to after months of basically being shipped together by mutual friends. As we started spending more time together and getting to know each other, I thought she was great. Honestly. She was easy to talk to, funny, adventurous. We enjoyed watching the same movies and spent a lot of time bonding over that. We even got tattoos together, not matching, but we went with each other, and it was my first tattoo, so she helped me get over that fear. But after 6 months of dating, the most physical intimacy we exchanged was an awkward goodbye hug after our dates. I had tried to kiss her several times, but my body literally would not let me. Her personality was great, but I had zero physical attraction towards her. I agree with other comments. Attraction isn't everything, but it's definitely necessary for a romantic partner. Attraction is the line between lover and friend. I'm off the market now, but when I was dating I became absolutely infatuated with some women despite not being immediately physically attracted to them. I can look back and see that my physical attraction grew from my attraction to who they were. As a married man, I am absolutely and totally physically attracted to my wife. She's aging. She's growing in places that aren't ideal. It doesn't matter. My ideal woman is her, and my ideal physical woman changes as she changes. It doesn't sound odd at all. If you want to marry someone, and spend your lives together, you need to be compatible. Physical attraction is just a facet of that. You can be physically compatible but your communication styles are totally different. In that case, no matter how much attraction there is, you will never be happy together. As long as you are compatible people, you can remain together a lot more easily and healthily than if you were just like, she's hot but I hate being around her. If I'm gonna date you, I wanna like being around you, lol. You can always work out, change up your hairstyle, do a lot of different things to boost that physical attraction. If you're not friends, it's not gonna be a fun relationship. Nothing. Physical attraction is important. People who say it's only the insides that count lie. Physical attraction is important for the sexual aspect. I feel like to me it's a big difference, if not the biggest difference, between a friend and a girlfriend. I love my friends for their personalities, and yes, many of them are pretty, but I don't feel physically attracted to them. A girlfriend to me combines both, the physical and the personal aspect. Came here to say the same thing. I met a girl shortly after graduate school. I suppose I thought she was cute, but I really wasn't attracted to her. However, we were a wonderful match for each other, so we became friends. A few years later we were doing everything together, going to concerts, coffee, dinner, drinks, weekend farmers markets, etc. It wasn't uncommon that we'd spend entire weekends together. I started calling her just to chat nearly every day on my drive home, and eventually we started crashing at one another's places to cut down on driving back and forth all the time. That was about 10 years ago. We are now happily married and I think she is the most beautiful woman in the world.